Hello and welcome to Blythe Business News. Today I'm joined by Richard Williams, who is Chief Executive of Cornish Metals. Cornish Metals, with a symbol of CUSN, is listed in Canada on the TXV market and in London on the AIM market, in London with a market capitalisation of around £55 million. The company has copper assets and tin assets, but is probably best known for its flagship project, the South Crofty Tin mine in Cornwall. Richard, welcome back on the programme. You've recently announced that you've actually got the first of two submersible pumps installed in the new cook's kitchen shaft at the South Crofty Tin mine. Explain the significance of this for Cornish Metals.
Morning, Tim. Good to be back here. Yes, I think anybody that's been following the story over the last couple of years realises that South Crofty mine is flooded. We've spent a lot of time working with the Environment Agency and coming up with an engineering design to dewater the mine. We bought a couple of submersible pumps a few years ago from a company called KSB in Germany. Each pump is about 8.5 meters long. It's like a torpedo that would be suspended at the bottom of a 360-meter long series of pipes. And so the first of those submersible pumps, plus the entire 360-meter long pipe column, was recently completed for the first pump last week. So a great achievement by the team down at site, and we expect to commence installation of the second pump next week.
That being the case, are we still on track for dewatering of the mine to start towards the end of this summer 2023? If that is the case, what will then be the other milestones needed to make that happen?
Right now, we've had power installed on the site, high voltage power, just this week. The next step's obviously getting the second pump installed. Then we go through commissioning of the water treatment plant that we've been constructing over the last 9 months. Commencement of dewatering, as you say, before the end of the summer. We estimate that dewatering of the mine will probably take in the order of 18 months to complete. In the meantime, we have recently completed a metallurgical drill program that collected samples from 5 of the main lodes, mineralized lodes at South Crofty. We should have initial metallurgical results to report from what we call the number 4, number 8, and Roskia loads over the next month or so, and we should have some initial assays as well to report. The next step following on from that, we are planning a mineral resource estimate update for September, October this year. And we are also looking to start drilling and following up on the discovery of the Wide Formation, which we reported earlier this year. So there's lots of activity to come, including outlining, the potential scale of the Wide Formation, updated mineral resource estimate, and then further updates on progress of the feasibility study that's currently underway.
So lots of news flow, which is great for investors and for potential investors. I think you said, Richard, previously that once the dewatering is completed, you'll then be in a position to that go no-go decision, that investment decision on building the mine. I don't want to preempt that decision, but just remind us, if you were to actually bring South Crofty back into operation, how many jobs is that going to create in and around South Crofty in Cornwall?
We completed what's called a preliminary economic assessment in 2017. That outlined the potential to create in the order of 275 to 300 direct jobs at the mine site. And typically the multiplier effect, indirect to direct jobs, it could be anywhere from 4 to 8 to 1. So between direct and indirect jobs, at least 1,000 jobs for Cornwall, and certainly a boost for the local economy.
Heck of a boost to the local economy. Tell us about the drill program. You've got a drill program currently underway at South Crofty. What's the current status, and when do you expect to announce some results?
Yeah, as I just alluded to, the metallurgical drill program we've just completed. We tested 5 areas. So I mentioned Roskia, number 4, number 8. We also tested an area called North Pool Zone and the Dalcoath South Lode. And those areas would represent the first 6-7 years of mine life from when we get the mine into production. So it's really collecting representative samples that would feed into the metallurgical work, optimizing the recovery process to recover the tin in the form of a tin concentrate. Also looking at using some new technologies like ore sorting, where we could separate waste from ore prior to going to the mill. That would then obviously result in a smaller mill requirement, lower power consumption, lower costs, lower capital costs to build a mill. And then also looking at paste backfill studies, because our plan is to put all of the tailings back underground. So it would probably be one of, if not the only mine where you can dispose of 100% of the tailings back into the old underground workings.
That's because the underground workings are so enormous, I guess. Is that right?
Yes, it's kind of a double-edged sword. The reason we have to pump for 18 months is that there's about 8 million cubic meters of void space that we need to extract water from. But that means that we've got an enormous void space where we can put the tailings back underground. So I think from a local perspective and from an environmental perspective, not having a tailings pond on surface is a tremendous benefit.
That's been a very comprehensive update. What bit of news should we be looking out for next?
I think the next, as I touched on, we should have some assays from that initial drill program that we did for the metallurgical works on number 4, number 8 Ross gear loads. Started with drilling on the wide formation, where we look to outline the continuity and extent scale potential for this new discovery that's on the southern boundary of South Crofty. And we're excited by that because it represents a couple of things. One is obviously the opportunity to expand the mineral resource considerably. But two, if we are successful there, then we could look at, in the future, assuming we're in production, increase in the scale of throughput at the plant, an increase in the amount of tin production. So lots of opportunities there. And then just further updates on different aspects of the feasibility study. I think because South Crofty was a mine for such a long period of time, we as management are pretty confident of the outcomes of that. It's really confirming what we already know, but a lot of that information is historic in nature, and we just need to update some of that information and also incorporate some new technologies into the mix as well.
Richard, thanks for all of that. You must come back and keep us updated. That was Richard Williams, Chief Executive of Cornish Metals, telling us about what's going on down at South Crofty Tin Mine and looking forward to that commencement of dewatering later on this summer. That's it for this edition of Blythe Ray Business News. Thanks for watching.